All right, good morning, guys. Today is June 13th, and as usual, we'll be going over analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So currently, we don't trade the first 10 or so minutes after New York Open. Just let the market stabilize for a bit. I'm already up 2% for the day, so I'm not really looking to do much. The only trade that I'm in is this gold trade that I took after news. So for you guys, I've gone over this pattern time and time again. So during news and not really CPI, I don't like trading the pattern during CPI, but I just tested it out today. I was just trying it out today. So during news, what I do, and this is for NFP mostly, and FOMC, and not just any FOMC, like the FOMC we have tomorrow, because the FOMC we have tomorrow has two parts. It has the statement at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and the conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we did have an FOMC, some FOMC news about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it didn't have the conference. So with the conference, after they released their rates, the statement and the fund rate, Powell, who's the chairman of the Fed, normally does a conference at 2:30 p.m. So this FOMC is normally more volatile than an FOMC that does not have the press conference. So even today's CPI, I wasn't expecting CPI to be very volatile. Tomorrow is when I expect volatility to be in the market. So today during CPI, it ideally did what I expected. I expected to be there to be a lot of fake outs. I was still bullish on US 30, to be honest. I've been bullish since yesterday on US 30 right here. So for gold, this is the only trade that I currently am in. And for this trade, I am in with a 20 pip TP, 200 pip TP and 200 pip stop loss. I actually entered this trade with Audrey because he had stopped by to see me during news. So the reason I entered this trade was to test out this pattern because I saw a bullish candle. The first 5 minute, the 5 minute news candle was a strong bullish candle. And then after that, I normally expect a retracement to trap people who are trying to catch a reversal. And then they normally push price back up in the direction of the first 5 minute news candle. So this happened perfectly during NFP 2 weeks ago. So, and you can see US 30 is pushing up. Gold is still consolidating. EU ideally is pushing up as well. So just to recap on some of the trades I took yesterday, I took this EU trade. So on Friday, I literally sent this in the group on Friday. So when EU was right here, when EU, did I? Let me see if I can do this. Save, and we'll just wait for like so it's 9:40. Geez, where is this thing frozen? Let's see if I can get this. I don't know what's up with me. Oh wait, I think I got it. So on Friday, I literally sent this and I sent this to the group. So this, I didn't have this on Friday, but I had this. So I was expecting EU to retrace to this static trend line on the hourly. And if you keep playing the chart, right, this is literally what happened. So when I saw that rejection and this trend line being respected, right, I waited for price to come back down to the same trend line. And what I was looking for was a retest of trend line and closure above. And I think some point here, so this is the one that I got it. I got in a little, ideally I would have wanted to get in here, but I got in here because I was still trading that trend line. And I normally knew the days before news, price keeps trending in that direction more times than not. So this is a trade I took on EU yesterday for 1%. Gold trade, I took a reversal on gold yesterday. So this is the reversal right here. I literally identified this trend right here, created an area of interest, 150 pips, waited for that buy signal, entered, again, 1% risk. Took a few hours to hit, but I'm already up 2% for the day. So all of these instruments, and here's the other one. I know I haven't shared this one, or I know you guys have access to it too, for those of you who subscribe to it, to the crosses indicator. So let me just do the math for you guys, right? So for US 30, including this trade that just hit TP, we had 24 trades. So this previous trade right here hit stop loss, this buy right here, but it was just a fake out due to news. So 100 pips TP, 100 pips stop loss. So counting this trade that just hit TP and also the one that hit stop loss before then, there were, before the last sell was taken using this indicator on US 30, there's a total of 24 trades, including this sell right here that hit stop loss. So of 24 trades, only 2 trades hit stop loss. So that is like a 98% win rate. So this sell right here hit stop loss using 100 pips TP, 100 pips stop loss. And then guess what? When this buy was picked up, TP for that buy, TP for this buy, TP, full TP right there. This other buy, full TP, full TP, full TP, full TP, full TP, full TP, full take profit, take profit, take profit. I'm even getting tired. Take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit, and then take profit. No, I'm sorry, stop loss and take profit. So just by using this indicator alone and risking 0.5% per trade, if you took each and every trade or even just 10 trades out of the 24, you would have been up maybe 5% on your challenge. So we have so many instruments available that for me, I will never understand anybody who is still struggling to, because I used to be there, like just trying to figure it out on my own, and it literally took me years. And I never had access to such high win rate strategies available to me. So, and I told you guys this like before I went, and I'm about to go on vacation in another 2 weeks. What I did after I created this last indicator, I said that I would sit back and then I would master the crosses indicator and I would master the breakout indicator. So we also have a breakout on gold. So right now what I've done, I've mastered this crosses, and I told you guys for this crosses indicator, if you have it, use it on the 15-minute time frame for better results. Use on fast moving instruments like indices, so US 30, gold, NAS, and also crypto. So it gives you the original golden cross and original death cross, but other than that, or more to that, it also gives you these other entries that are not part of the crosses. So that's why I call them secondary crosses. So it also gives you that. So for better, for a higher win rate also, take the first 3 to 4 trades of the original cross. So if you have an original golden cross here, so honestly for me, I have an automated account that's literally taking all these signals, but it's not taking them 24/5. I have specific times it's taking them. But what I mean by take the first 3 or 4, so the original golden cross or death cross has an X next to it. So that is trade number 1. So in this case, if I was trading these crosses, I would have taken this buy, so number 1. I would have taken this other buy, number 2. I would have taken this other buy, number 3. At this point, there's no need to push it because I've had 3 back-to-back wins. But if I really want to push it, sure, I could have taken this other buy, number 4, full take profit. And then until then, honestly, I wouldn't have taken any of these other buys because at that point, you're kind of just pushing it and you don't know when the reversal is going to happen. But if you just decided to automate and take all these entries, full take profit for with a 98% win rate. So let's see what we have today. So I'm still bullish on US 30. US 30, I am looking at this trend line. So the same trend line. So this trade I sent out yesterday in the Discord, but due to this fake out, I told you guys, so what happened during this trade, when we entered, it went into profit like 90% and then price came back down. So the reason I said we should exit at break even is because we had this candle that came back down, closed below the trend line. And then what I expected at that point, oh, actually, yeah, it closed below the trend line. So at that point, I was saying the trade is still valid. What invalidated the trade for me, or what I thought would invalidate, I was waiting for this next hourly candle to close below the trend line. So literally, 5 seconds or 10 seconds before this hourly candle closed, that's when I told you guys, looks like this hourly candle will close below the trend line, which would then signal any sell. So I said, just look to get out at break even. But during the last 5 minutes, guess what they did? They pushed this hourly candle and made it close above the same trend line. And at that point, they retested the trend line and pushed price up. At that point, for me, I'd already, if you look at the Discord, I'd already exited that trade with like 10 at break even. So this is for today. For yesterday, I was already out of that trade. I don't think I posted. So I had a loss yesterday, this loss, and then I had like $10 profit for that US 30 trade. But then the reason I was looking to buy US 30 here, look at the price range we're in. And I sent a detailed explanation of this. 34,000. This is a psychological level on US 30. So any thousand, any whole number, like in the thousands, that is a psychological level. So what do market makers know that retailers do? They know that retailers around such a psychological level, a lot of people are trying to sell here because they expect it to hit the psychological level and go ahead and sell. You can see in this hourly candle, these 2 hourly candles, price literally came to around the 34,000 area and came back down. So in the past, like maybe a year ago or so, I lost a ton of accounts trying to do this. And I used to do like 100 lots. So what they normally do, they normally keep pushing price up to maybe in US 30 case, maybe another 200 pips or so. So I was actually talking to one of the members in here. I was telling them I expect them to take US 30 to maybe 34,098 or 200 or something. So they normally try to push it past that zone before any significant drop is coming. Now, I did tell you guys, I'm waiting for the US 30 sell. And literally all I'm going to use is this crosses indicator. So the next time I get a sell on US 30, I will literally go for like a 3% trade for US 30. And for that also, I'm almost sure it's going to align with this trend line. So this is also what I'm looking at. For this trend line, a nice sell on US 30 would be if we get this, if we get closure below this trend line, and then we get retests of the trend line and closure below. At that point, hopefully I'll have gotten that sell signal from the crosses indicator, and then I'll get into US 30 sell and I'll ride it for like a 5% gain. So literally I'm going to go full margin, almost full margin on that trade. Now, here's the other thing that I've realized, right? You can literally go full margin on such a trade, but a lot of people, the mistakes they make and why they get stopped out. And I used to be, even recently, I was that kind of person. So you guys have noticed like nowadays US 30, I'm going for 100 pips TP and stop loss. So you can literally go for a full margin, or let's say if you have a 100K account, your max drawdown is what, 5,000. So let's just say 4,500 or something. So if you go 100 lots, you can survive like a 50 pip move before you hit max drawdown. But you can literally do the same, risk the same 5,000 or 5% and use a 300 pip stop loss and TP. The only difference is that here you'll use a smaller lot size, but you can literally survive such a, I mean, look at this. This is so likely to get hit. Like once you get that sell, instead of trying to use a heavy lot size, I mean, heavy lot sizes are nice to look at, but trust me, for you guys who've known me, I used to trade like 100 lots and 50 lots, but nowadays I don't do that. But I do the same amount of risk, if not more. But what I do, if I see a trade that the probability is higher, I just double my TP or double my stop loss. The thing you want to have at least a 1:1 risk to reward. So for me, I like trading with the 1:1. That's what works for me. If for you it's a 1:6, 1:2, do the same thing. You can still have a 1:2 using a 300 pip stop loss and maybe 600 pip TP. And you can still make 5K. So a lot of people try to make 8, right? You have to make 8% in a month. You can literally make 5% easily in 2 days just by finding a high probable trade and just using a wider TP and wider stop loss, and make sure that the direction you're looking for that trade to go has like a 90% chance of hitting. And that way you just enter your trade on Monday, but maybe by Wednesday, maybe by Tuesday, it has already hit TP. And there you go. You've already made your 5% with one trade, instead of just being out here making like 10 trades or 5 trades a day. So it's not a bad thing, but it's just something maybe you guys who are still struggling to be profitable should keep in mind. So for US 30, what do we have? So I don't think that sell is going to come anytime soon. So I will give me a quick second. Let me pause this for something. All right, my bad, I'm back. So does anybody have any questions regarding any trades that we took this week or anything that I just went over? So right now I really don't see anything. So US 30, we are at the current monthly high, weekly high, previous monthly high. So here we do have a sell zone on US 30. However, let's see what else we have. So you can see other than this sell zone right here, we really don't have any sell zones up here. I might have to adjust my, I've been playing around with the settings for the zones indicator. Yeah, but if anybody has any questions, I know we haven't had a live session for like a week or two. So if anybody has a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask as I look for entries here. I want to see what zones we are in. Let's see. So gold, my gold trade is in drawdown, so that's fine. So for this particular trade, no, this is not that one. This is the one I'm in. So for this particular trade, a red flag to me would be if this hourly closes this way. So that's where I might look to cut the trade loose. But another reason why I have my stop loss where it is, it's below the previous manipulation area. If we do break this 30-minute bullish low and possibly break this demand zone down here, then I'll probably look to cut my gold trade at a loss. But right now, I'm going to still hold on to that gold trade. US 30, yeah, so you can see for US 30, we really don't have any US 30 hasn't been up here in a minute, so we really don't have any sellers here. Like I literally just even adjusted my zones indicator to, I think I thought I was missing other things, but yeah. So if US 30 breaks this zone, US 30 will keep trending up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go to 35,000 because we don't have any sellers up here. And based on my markups, we don't have any sellers up here. Also, we don't have any bearish zones. So at this point, I am still bullish on US 30. However, I don't see any entry to take using US 30. So when I don't see any confluences, I just skip to the next instrument. Gold right now, let's see, gold. This is the trend line for gold. For my buy to be invalidated, I still expect gold to go back to the upside. However, if you're trading a trend line, you had this news candle that closed below the trend line. This next hourly candle retested the trend line and is closing below. So if you do have any confluences for a sell on gold, and if I turn on the zones for gold for buys and sells, you can see we have sellers up here. And you see gold rejected, like literally during news, and I was watching this with Audrey. During news, gold literally came to the hourly bearish high. So this hourly bearish high and rejected to the downside. However, I do still expect gold to go to the upside. And in any case, I'm looking to scale in on gold around 1968. Because if we do close above 1968, that will be it for the gold sellers, because the hourly bearish high is the only thing that's holding gold, the hourly order block that's around 1968. That is the only thing that's holding gold. So if gold comes back up and closes above this hourly bearish high, and possibly, I think I would wait for a closure above and then retest and closure above, we will get a huge spike to the upside, because that is the last, based on my markups, that is the last bearish order block we have on gold. Other than, so if I turn on the zones, you'll see that yes, we do have sellers up there, but for me, I don't I don't trade the red and green zones by themselves. All that tells me is that, hey, we have sellers up there or we have buyers down here. But so long as there's no order block that the sellers can use to bring price back down, I don't care that there's sellers up here. I just know that if we do close above the hourly bearish high at 1968 and above, I will take another buy on gold to ride gold to the upside. Yeah, so EU as well, I don't see any trade for EU. We have a 15-minute bearish high, 15-minute bearish low here. So on EU, so same thing, I'm still looking at this trend line right here. So for any sells on EU, same thing. You would need a closure below this trend line, retest of the trend line, and closure below for any sells. But so long as we continue with this uptrend, at the very least, I would even look to take another buy on EU at this trend line right here. So yeah, nowadays if I don't see any trade, there's no need to force any trade for any reason. So for this month alone, we are literally up more than we were up last month. So we're already up 2.5%. I didn't send the gold and EU trades I took yesterday. But the trades I sent a trade on Monday with a 1% risk, hit TP. Tuesday 1% full TP. Wednesday 0.5 full TP. We are up 2.5% for the month of June. Look at that. For the month of May, this is the reason why I've stopped trading like small trades. Like when a trade makes sense to you, and I'm always honest with you guys. Like I'm still growing as a trader, but you start seeing some of that growth. So in just 3 trading days, we've made more than we made on the live session or in the Discord, like in a whole month. So yeah, so right now I don't think we're gonna have any trades today during the live session. So if any of you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask. All right, and I'm hoping that I am not muted. Yeah, and also going forward, I don't think our live sessions will be as long anymore. Due to my new trading methodology, I don't think there's any need for me to be on the live session for like an hour and a half if there's really no trades being taken. Yeah, so for this trade right here, let's see. Yeah, if we close below this, I'll just exit. So again, like right perspective. So I used a 1% risk for this trade. My stop loss was 200 pips. So I just used a 1 lot. So I'm only down like 0.5% right now. So I can easily close out with 0.5%. So, but this is the key area, this area of manipulation where they brought price, because this wick right here tells you that there's a lot of market making or market makers intention in this zone between 1960 and 1950. So it's 100 pip zone. So when they brought price down this way, this ideally was a fake out. So they were faking out people that were trying to buy, or also people that had set buy limits right here, and then they brought price back up. So I'm still bullish on gold right now. I think they're faking or they're reeling in sellers, but at this point, if I'm faked out like with a 200 pip move, this is a $20. My stop loss on gold right here was $20 for this particular reason. If I'm faked out of this move or I'm stopped out, I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm gonna be like, hey, your stop loss was like way wide. So like, if they took you out with a $20 stop loss, then it just wasn't meant to be. But yeah, for me, the buy on gold is still valid. Even looking at other instruments, right? US 30 pumping up gold. EU ideally also doing some retracement. But just note this pattern that I used to enter, the news pattern that I used to enter this trade, I was well aware of the risks for it. So I haven't had a very good win rate using this pattern, using this news pattern right here on CPI. It has a better win rate on NFP and FOMC news conference. For CPI normally you get a pump and then retracement, but yeah, I just, there's only one way to find out. Sometimes you just gotta be in the game to test it out. So nobody has any questions? Anybody struggling with anything? Anybody doesn't understand any of the strategies we have?
What I wanted to ask you on MT4, there's no like indicators, right?
No, no, no. There's no you mean like the ones I have?
Yeah, like there's no like you couldn't put these indicators on MT4 at all. That's not possible.
It is possible, but right, is there a use case for that? I would have to, I don't know. I don't know if so even if I put them, I mean, I can, it's definitely possible to put them on MT4. I just never had a reason to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I can stay on for another 12 or whatever minutes. So let me just recoup, and I'm gonna upload a video on this that I recorded while I was on vacay. So the new mentality I have on trading. So this is just 5 simple steps. So number one, right? Ask yourself, is the trade valid or not, right? So how do you know a trade is valid? You know a trade is valid if you have a strategy. So that is what separates people who trade on FOMO, on 4G versus strategy. So like for me, for example, let me just use this gold and look at that nice sell on gold based on the breakout. Um, Let me just recap this using those 5 things. Let me just put this in here. And then yeah, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask, but I'll be ending the live session soon because yeah, I'm already up for the day. And nowadays I only trade like one trade a day. So with this particular trade, is the trade valid or not? So you don't just want to look at charts and say maybe it's going to buy, maybe it's going to sell. So right here for this gold trade, if I recap it, if I replay it, I saw gold when it was here. So I identified this trend. So what I did, I was like, okay, what strategy am I going to use? Because I already identified a trend. What is this strategy that I'm using? Reversal strategy. Perfect. So number one, the first requirement has been met. Okay, so reversal strategy came in here, drew my area of interest, which was somewhere around here, around 1965, drew my 150 pips arrow, came into the reversal indicator, came in there. I'm not interested in sells. I was only interested in buys. Left this as 1. This actually should be 50. It's because I'd used that for a forex pair for GU. So came in there, used my settings right there. Then identify your risk per trade. So for this trade, based on how gold had melted down, even from the top here, right? Gold was also completing structure. So for this one, I said, okay, this trade to me, so nowadays I have 2 sets of trade. So the first one has like a 90% probability. So I don't take any trades that have a 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, no. So the trades that I take, it either has a 90% and above probability or 80% and above. So for this trade, it had a 90% trade, a 90% probability. So if a trade for me has a 90% probability, I will use a 1% risk. If a trade has a 80% probability, I will use a 0.5% risk. So here I said, identify your risk per trade. So after analyzing, I said, hey, gold was heavily discounted here. It had already also come from an uptrend, completing a structure to the downside. So to me, gold was more likely to reverse around this area. Okay, so my risk for this trade, 1%. Second requirement complete. Just very simple. And it took me like 5 minutes. Okay, so I let identify your risk to reward. So actually, wait. So before that, you need to get your entry. So with this strategy, I needed to get my entry. So there was the buy signal right there. So during this buy, that's when you identify your risk. For me, it was 1%. Identify your risk to reward ratio. So currently for me right now, I'm using a 1:1. So meaning if I lose one trade, I only need to win one more trade to get back to break even. There are other people who use a 1:2, 1:6. Ideally, for me, I can ideally use a 1:2 if I wanted. I just want a wide enough stop loss because I can literally use a 50 pips. I could have literally used a 50 pip stop loss for this trade and done my 1:2. But anyway, identify your risk to reward ratio. So for me, I normally use a 1:1. And normally for the reversal strategy, the breakout strategy, I use double what we used to use like before. So before in the live session on a regular trade, we used to use 50 pips TP and stop loss for US30 and gold, and 20 pips stop loss for US30, no, 20 pip for FX pairs. Nowadays, I'm just comfortable using 100 pips stop loss for US30 and gold, and 40 pip stop loss for FX pairs. The reason for this, I'm trying to move from being a scalper to an intraday trader. The scalping is good, but what I noticed with scalping, it has a lot of you need a lot of energy, and sometimes you need to be on the charts a little bit more. And what that did for me, I was just spending a lot of time on the charts. So nowadays I just want to spend like 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the chart, and then I'm done. I set my trade up. So my risk to reward for this one was 1:1. Okay. Requirement number 3, done. No FOMO, no FOG. Number 4, have a set TP and stop loss. No ifs, buts, or maybes, right? So I wasn't going to enter and say if it hits or whatnot, or the trade is going to come back. One thing I realized, make sure the reason you want to set stop loss, and I realized this the hard way, right? So if you're using a prop firm, most of them have like a 5% daily drawdown. So for me, my max drawdown for the day used to be around 3%. Nowadays, I'm trying to keep it to 1% or 2%. So what I used to do, even using some other robots out there or trading bots out there, if you set your max drawdown at 3%, guess what? Sometimes you have that itch to say, okay, let me just go for the 5%. Maybe this thing is going to come back in my favor. But I realized that that was detrimental for me, both when using any bots, even the bot that I'm still having fine-tuned and everything, because I realized if only you take your set stop loss, whether it's 2% or 3%, guess what? You will find another entry that will give you back your stop loss and even more. So have a set TP and stop loss for each trade. That's why, I talk about having a trade manager. That's requirement number 4. So if all of this have been met, go ahead and enter that trade. If you're still feeling weird or watching your phone or the charts the whole time, do the same thing, but double your TP and stop loss. So for here, I could have easily gone for like the trade I'm in right now. If you just want more peace of mind, maybe to start off as you try to learn where a good TP and stop loss is for you, just double the TP. Even though the trade makes sense, just go ahead and double the TP and stop loss that you already have in mind and enter that trade. And then just let the trade run, right? So if this was like a 200 pip TP and stop loss, and you're saying that so let's say for you it was 100 and 100, but then you're still feeling weird about that trade, you're not too sure, you're feeling a bit scared, and you go ahead and double it and say, okay, instead of using 100 let me use 200, and when it gets to 100, then next time I know, hey, you're safe to use 100. So for here, right, you just enter in and you just have used half the lot size you could have used with 100, and then you just let the trade ride, right? So I'll just go all the way to the end. So you see that your trade could have gone like 90% in profit all the way up there. So yeah, this is the importance of just have this, just write this down, have it next to you. And trading is like nowadays, if you ask me, trading is so simple. Just by having a set requirements, and don't overcomplicate trading. If you have to ask questions about a strategy, it either right, if you have to keep asking, let's say it has taken you maybe 3 weeks to understand a strategy, maybe it means you need to move on to another strategy, or maybe it means that you maybe have an issue being in drawdown. Because for me with this trade, I didn't have any drawdown, even when the trade went up like 50% in profit. And nowadays, right, here's the other thing. I know, like when we used to trade about 2 or so weeks ago, before I was out on vacation, I used to be like, if you're 50% in profit, go ahead and set break even. Nowadays, because of the high win rate of this strategy with my risk to reward ratio, I don't set break even at any point. In any case, I would set break even when I'm at least 1:1, where ideally is where my TP would be. But if it's 50% right here, I was still riding this trade, came back to break even, and then guess what? The trade went up the same place my entry was. And then at this point, I didn't even feel weird because I've backtested this strategy, and I've mentioned this time and time again. If you're in an entry, worst case, don't feel bad when the trade comes to your entry. The worst case is when the trade comes back to your entry and then goes heavily against you. But if the trade comes back to your entry and then dances a little bit and goes back in your direction, just let it play out, even though it's going to take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Go ahead and just let that be. So yeah, so this is what has changed my trading game during the last week or so, and I think I'm feeling like I'm a much better trader than I was even the previous month. So just find a way to fine tune, choose any of these strategies. I mean, and if I had to ask, and I'm being honest with you guys, like I would never try to lead you guys astray. If you were to ask me, what if you are me, right? Like what trade would you dial down on, or what strategy? Literally the crosses strategy, and the reversal is obvious, but the reversal doesn't happen every day. That's the issue with the reversal strategy. It happens maybe once a week. So the crosses strategy and the breakout strategy. So you can see for gold here, this was a short position on gold. So for this one, I know this is not good for me because I'm in a buy, right? But for this one, if you would have taken it at 100 pips TP, 100 pips stop loss, right? You'd have been in profit about 50 pips, right? If you didn't want to, so if you're using, here's the other thing with the breakout scanner. If you're taking any trades with the breakout scanner, ideally you want to make sure your stop loss is above or below the breakout area. So the breakout area is the area, this dark area. So if you're taking a sell, for example, it's better either to have your stop loss above the 9 EMA or above the 200 EMA, but to be safe, to have your stop loss above this zone. The reason for that is if gold comes back up this way, it means that if it breaks above and closes above this zone, it will give a buy signal. So at that point, your trade would be invalidated. So you really don't want a two, unless you, right, there are people who are good at it, like Steven, having like a 2 pip or whatnot. So right, you can use that, but to be safe, right, you can have a wider TP and wider stop loss. But yeah, so you can see, like for example, gold, this you'd already be in profit there. Yeah, so if you were to ask me the two strategies that right now I'm focusing on, crosses indicator, because right now, personally, I know how to trade the original cross, but these other crosses right here, even for me, I can't give you guys the logic of this because it was, I just gave my idea to my programmer and he found a way to give all these other entries. The only one I know how to trade off the top of my mind is the crosses, is the original cross, because it's obvious, it's the 9 EMA cross and the 200 EMA. But these others, if you ask me like, how did it get this buy? Honestly, right, that it's definitely my logic, but my programmer found a way to amalgamate it. Also, the other good thing with this crosses indicator, I think I have mentioned this before. If you see these yellow triangles, it gives you an exit. So the other thing, and I'm testing this out, is you can use a heavy lot size on this crosses indicator, whether it's a 50 lot or 100 lot or 20 lot or whatnot. So for example, here, you could have taken a buy on this buy right here on US 30, and then maybe use the 20 lot and then waited for the exit signal, right? So here, if you close with the exit signal, this would have been 76 and call this about 56. So with a 20 lot, you'd have lost 400. Okay, so you lose 400 there, you buy here. Here maybe you lose another 100. So you're down like 500. Here you buy, here you lose here maybe another 100, you're down 600, and then guess what? You get this nice buy right here using the same thing, 20 lots, and then you write price all the way here. So 20 lots right here would have given you 2,000. So you lost 600 because you're waiting for that nice move. So you can, with this closures, these yellow triangles, you can either do, I'm gonna exit either at a sudden take profit, or the reversal closure, which is these yellow triangles, whichever comes before. So as much as you could have lost like 600 bucks just getting out using this this previous 3 or 4 trades, you could have won 2,000 bucks here. So this is another one. you can make use of this, like this yellow triangles. It's just, just tells you where to exit a position that has been given. So even for this particular one, like this buy that was taken up here, it already hit take profit, but we haven't gotten a reversal or like close this trade already. So for this particular trade also, right, you could have just hit your take profit for like $2,000 if you're using a 20 lot, because your TP came before the reversal or the closure indication. So yeah, so if you ask me, like, this is literally, honestly, this is what I'm focusing on. I don't care about as much as, what other strategies do we have? Yeah, the reversal, it only comes like once a week. So yeah, so right now I'm just focusing on, and primarily just this breakout, no, I'm sorry, this crosses strategy. So
So it's the breakout and the golden cross.
yeah.
Into right now, right?
Yeah. Foji, Steve asked what's Foji. Foji's fear of jumping in, right? So when you see a trade is going like right here, like yesterday I could have easily had Foji on US, no, not even US 30. So Foji would be like EU right here. It's like, you see, like, I knew this move was coming, but I'm like, oh my God, maybe it's gonna come, what if it reverses? But it's like, okay, what if it reverses? What if it goes? And then you're just stuck in the middle. So that's, Foji just keeps you from entering a trade, and then you're like a demo millionaire or mentor millionaire as opposed to just getting in. And yeah, so golden crosses, actually leave even the breakout scanner. So also with the breakout scanner, the other thing I've noticed, also, I'm not in this trade. I'm in a buy for gold. So I was just marking up how you can take trades using this. Also for the breakout scanner, try to avoid this minor pairs. So anything that's not a USD pair, you might get trapped in that position like time and time, like maybe for days, and then you end up at stop loss. So with the breakout scanner right now, my focus is breakout scanner, 15-minute time frame, looking for entries on US 30, gold, and NAS. That's it. And US 30, gold, NAS, and EU. And maybe if I get like USD JPY, that's a major pair. So maybe USD JPY. But what you want to avoid pairs like GBP CHF, Euro NZD. Those pairs are more likely to consolidate, and you'll just be in and out of profit.
Is there
Yes.
any way to weed those out and just so we could focus on the more major pairs?
I can do that, but I would have to delete all of this. I would have to remove all of this from the code. Let me see
Okay.
if I can get check boxes put in. I'll see if I can get check boxes. I don't know what this does. Let me try this. It just says moving average. I'll see if I can get check boxes put in so that you can select the instruments. Or maybe you can do this, right? This is interesting. I haven't seen this before. I don't know what this does. It says moving average. Anyway, maybe try selecting this so that those three instruments have like blue highlighted on them, maybe. But I'll see if my programmer can put check boxes in so that you can select which ones you want. But yeah, in
Oh,
the
I
mean,
see what you're saying. No, that'll work for me. I just
okay,
use that.
yeah, just use it. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, actually, I think, yeah, because this MA, this is the whatever here. Yeah, so let me actually even do that now that we're on the call, because yeah, so nowadays I don't focus on all these other slow moving pairs. So gold, US 30, NAS, BTC, and then EU is somewhere. Anyway, I'll deal with that later. Here it is. Yeah, so those are the only ones I'm interested in. Yeah, because you can, so USD JPY, yeah, even this one, this is not something you want to trade, right? Because you're going to get stuck during this consolidation. So better to use like EU. So if you're in doubt, like look up most volatile FX pairs. Or is it most liquid? No, it's most liquid actually, not volatile, because I know EU is the most liquid. So look up most liquid FX pairs. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no, it's that one. That's what I was looking for. Most liquid FX pairs. So EU, USD JPY, GU, AU. So this is what you want, right? So if in any case, these are the ones you want to look out for the breakout. So forget all these other minor pairs. You might just get trapped for no reason. So yeah, just use that and you should be all good. Any other questions? Let me save this as default. Yeah, so the also I know you mentioned, Livy, you're trying to catch GJ, so let me try and see if I can recap GJ, the reversal, GBP, JPY. So I was looking for a sell on GJ here on Friday, but due to the one time we got burnt on GJ, so this should be 30 on FX pairs. This should be close. So for GJ, the reversal, the issue I don't like, the reason I don't like trading reversals on such pairs is this consolidation. But I remember my area of interest on GJ, so this is literally my sell area. My area of interest was actually 174,750. That's why 175,750 was big for me. So 174,750 around this area. Yeah. So this was my area of interest on GJ. Now, and normally for FX pairs, like EU and others that move similar to EU, this zone right here, we normally do 50 pips. But 50 pips on GJ here would have been, let me just round off, maybe 300 or something, 300, which we did get a sell entry right there. But on GJ, you need to double that. So you need to do, instead of 50, this should be 100. So which is why 750 for me was a major, like literally, I remember just going over it last week on Friday when I said I was looking at sales for GJ. So for GJ, this should be 100 pips because GJ moves heavily. So this should be 100 pips. So for me, as much as even for this trade, I could have survived entering a short position here. Because ideally, even for GJ, I'm not gonna, so I would go for what, 40, no, I think 70 or 80 pips TP and stop loss when I trade GJ. Because on a regular pair like EU, I go for 40 pips nowadays, 40 pips TP and 40 pips stop loss. So I could have still survived this and it hit, and it would have hit TP. But for this one, right, you want to stick to your 100, your 100 pips or your threshold. So as much as we didn't get a sell zone right here, I knew that for me, this here for GJ was major area for sales. The other thing I used, so nowadays when I get a trade, either I'm looking to buy or sell, I literally use all of the indicators we have. So if I open up, so this is the DXY, if I open up, let's go to markups. Open link in new tab. So if I open up markups right here and go to GBP JPY right here, and I know I was talking to Audrey about this this morning. GBP JPY, right? So let's assume it hit 750, or the reason I was also looking at 750. So right here we should load the zones. I think let me try resetting this. See if it's gonna reset. But I know I'd sent it in the group, so if this doesn't load, I might need to. Okay, never. Yeah, I need to reset that. So let me try and go back and see if I can get that picture for you. GJ. This was yesterday. Here we go. So GJ. Huh, interesting. I thought I sent, so there was definitely a supply zone on GJ up there. Anyway, so for GJ here, if you use I have to reset on my chart this zones indicator. Let me try and use 0 for everything. No. Oh, okay. Anyway, so for GJ around 175, 750, we definitely had a supply zone right here. We had a supply zone on GJ right here. So when I looked at my chart, this was the last area. So same way I reviewed US30, this was the last area where there were sellers on GJ. So that's why 175, 750 was a major, because above here, we didn't have any sellers. We didn't have any supply zone. So so nowadays, so just same thing to recap. When I get either a buy or a sell on a trade, so for example, on US30, if I get a buy on US30, I would come in and look at the zones we're in, right? So we have the zones indicator and the markups indicator. So the zones indicator gives you the supply and demand areas. That's number one. The markups indicator shows you the zone, the markups for like weekly highs, previous daily high, previous monthly high, weekly open, monthly open, and also the bearish zones and bullish zones, like the 15-minute bearish high and low. So if I get, for example, a buy here on US30, I would want to see ideally demand zone. I would want to see a bullish markup somewhere around here. And then if I get those, guess what? I proceed to the next one. I then come to, I wouldn't look at the reversal indicator because it doesn't make sense to look at it for any trade. Then I would come into the crosses indicator. So look at the crosses indicator. Sometimes I'm going to get a buy, or there's going to be a buy or a sell that has already shot up during that period. So that's another confluence. Then I would come to the breakout indicator. I'll come to the breakout indicator and go to that particular symbol and see where is price relative to the breakout. So if I'm looking for a buy, I would want to see maybe there was another buy like an hour ago or something. So if literally all of those three line up, I would go ahead and take that trade with like a 1% or even 2% risk. So yeah, so if you have access to these indicators, if you get a buy, whether it's from a signal or whether it's me sending in the group, line up all these indicators in a tab and then go in and see, okay, Michael sent a buy on US30. Do we have a demand zone where price is? Okay, if we do, that's nice. Okay, do we have any bullish order blocks? Okay, if we do, that's perfect. Come to the breakout scanner, go to US30 and see, okay, is US30 breaking out for a buy? Perfect. Come to the crosses indicator. Look at when the last buy was, right? Did we have a last buy, or maybe I'm going to be sending for that buy? Perfect. At that point, you've literally fed into the validity of the trade, and then you just set up your trade with proper risk management, and then go ahead and 1% that thing or 2%, and you're done with the challenge in like a week. So yeah, any last questions? So I'm still in this trade. I might close this trade, but we'll see. But for this trade, I think it's only me and Audrey that we are in this trade because we entered this trade together. Any last questions from anyone? All right. Perfect. Yeah. So our live sessions are not going to be as long anymore. I'm going to be sending trades as I see them, and just doing maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes of a live session. But other than that, I will talk to you guys later. Trade safe and use proper risk management. Bye, guys.